Imagine you're walking down your street and the year is 2030. You've just heard that your community has reached 100% renewable energy, and you're noticing the changes. Your street looks different. There are solar panels on almost every roof now. And look, Larry over the road's putting in those fancy new solar tiles. Your street sounds different. Whoosh. Oh, is that the new electric ute? Swish. And it's chatty. You know, Madge from next door has an electric bike. Hi, Madge. And it smells different too. When was the last time you smelt a smelly, dirty puff of exhaust from a car? Well, that's a thing of the past. It smells like spring, flowers and sunshine. But did I say 2030? That's only 7 years away. Could we really make that change in just 7 years? I believe we can. I believe we must. And I believe the key is community energy. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why. 1, we do need to go fast. And community energy is going to help us learn fast. 2, we need to go in the right direction. And everyone needs to agree to come along. And 3, it needs to be affordable. If it's not affordable, it's not going to happen. So, can change happen fast? For someone like me, it doesn't feel like energy's changing fast. 30 years ago, I made a solar cell, I climbed a wind turbine, and I worked in industries to generate their own power, far more efficiently than their local power station. And many of you are Churchill fellows, and you would know when you travel the world, you meet your people. And we were called, I met lots of people, I visited 40 communities, and we were called the people with the lousy timing, because the change is happening now, but we've been going on about it for 30 years. So let's have a think about change. I'm going to start with a change that you guys have all experienced. Can you remember the first time you heard what a smartphone was? And then think, how long after that moment was that smartphone in your hand? How long did it take before you owned one? Or we could go back to this example. In the first photo in 1900, all of those vehicles are horse-drawn carriages, and there's one tiny car in the photo. And just 13 years later, there's only one tiny horse in the photo. And community energy is going to help us learn, because when we have such rapid technology change, everyone's racing to keep up. Many of you will have asked a teenager to help you with something on your smartphone. Well, maybe the future is asking your neighbour to puzzle out what's going wrong with your smart hot water system. So, it's all very well to go fast, but it's bloody useless if you go in the wrong direction. And what I went to talk to people about was what they'd been advocating for. And if there's one thing I learnt on my fellowship, it was that when governments and industry get it wrong, communities fight them, and often communities win. Like the citizens of Hamburg. They had a brand new coal-fired power station built in their backyard. This is in the 2000s. It was obvious to everyone in Germany that there is no way we should be building new coal-fired power stations. These things last for 50 years. The citizens of Hamburg rallied. They demanded from their local government that the franchise not be given back to the business Vattenfall that owned that and that made that decision. But the local government liked outsourcing everything to Vattenfall. A few years later, Hamburg City Council was completely transformed and they bought back their whole electricity system. And when I looked up that project recently, they've announced that that coal-fired power station is going to be converted to hydrogen. Around Australia, community energy groups are also advocating for a better world. You can tell by the sorts of names that they choose what they've been gunning for. And energy goes deep. It affects every part of our lives. It's no secret that the wealth in the world is tied up with who uses the energy in the world. And community energy groups are trying to transform that. They're trying to even out the ownership of energy, because if we just rush into the future on a technological basis, we could repeat the mistakes of the past and build something just as dysfunctional as the one we've got at the moment. But let's get on to the lovely stuff. Most of what I went about to see on my fellowship was community energy groups that are building the energy future in their backyard. This is Soren proudly standing at the top of one of his wind turbines and looking at his community, Samso Island, in the middle of Denmark. Now, one of the things he did was design a district heating plant in the south of that island, but before they designed it, they went round to all the homes and said, we will not connect you unless you make your home 25% more efficient than it is at the moment, because we're going to burn straw, local straw in this district heating plant, and we don't have enough straw unless you're all efficient. Plus, then your district heating plant can be 25% smaller and cheaper for everybody. Up the road, we have Martin. Martin's running all the energy assets in the community of Videsande. This is what it looks like. He's in charge of making sure when those wind turbines can't make good money on the market, he'll use it to turn it into hot water for their district heating scheme. And the whole project here was built because this is a fishing village, and they agreed that, okay, 3 wind turbines on the beach, not the prettiest thing, but if that could fund our new harbour, that would be fabulous. A harbour for a fishing village is exactly the lifeblood of that community. So the trouble with doing a Churchill Fellowship is, of course, you go to the best examples around the world, but we're not in that space in the mainstream. So I want to take us back to one last story. This is Denmark at the crossroads. In the 70s, we had an oil crisis. The shadow of that's been through my whole career, understanding that it was a wake-up call for Europe. Countries like Denmark didn't have any of their own energy sources, and they needed to change. And a lot of countries at this time went for nuclear energy. In fact, the neighbours of Denmark went for nuclear energy, and that famous sticker there was actually designed in Denmark. Nuclear, no thanks. And what happened at the same time in 1978 is some visionaries, teachers and school students, said, well, maybe we need to show people what we could do if we don't go for nuclear power. And by hand, they built this wind turbine. There were over 400 volunteers, and up until, for the next 20 years, this was the highest performing wind turbine of this calibre in the world. They showed Denmark that wind was possible, and of course, this is the birth of the modern wind industry. So I hope you're inspired by that example. Here we are. The energy transition is upon us. I hope I've convinced you that community energy is needed for us to travel fast and true and together. We all have so much to learn during this period about how to make the world a better place. I invite you to join us on this adventure. Thank you.